This is my top 10 prediction for FNCS Grand Finals. If you guys have any opinions about this list or your own predictions, I'd love to hear it down in the comments. Coming in at number 10, I've got Chance, Mason, and Donny. This team is landing over at Twinkle Terrace and they're unconned in Grand Finals. Now, this trio only formed on the day of the FNCS play-ins, so there's not too much to look at in terms of their tournaments that they've played together. However, in the tournaments they have played, they've been looking pretty solid as a team, and individually, they're all very good players. Mason, for example, he was playing very well with Iomzo and Batman Booga at the start of the season. Donny, he's a great player, just moved from like 60 ping down to like 10, I think.
He's 184 HP, Donny. Shit on this kid.
Watch out.
Nice. Oh!
Oh my god! So we're going to see some good things from this trio, and hopefully they do well in Grand Finals. Coming in at number 9, I've got Quanti, Byler, and Edgy. Now, once again, this is a new trio, as Quanti and Edgy were playing with Yapko before this. However, that's all changed around with all the snake innings and stuff in NA. So now they've picked up Byler, and this trio is landing bottom left at Shoguns. They're uncontested. It's a decent POI. However, it's kind of edge map, so they're not going to have the best positioning, and it might be hard to rotate and get Surge from. Now, although this is a new trio, in the one set lobby finals that they have played together, they placed 6th, which is very good. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they play in Grand Finals from this POI, if they're going to struggle with Surge, how their rotates will be, and if they can pull off this 9th place finish that I've predicted. Now, in 8th place, I've got Booga, Threats, and Aviv. If you guys are following the comp scene, then you would know that this trio hasn't been doing too much. They're not really grinding. They're not playing that much. You know, Booga and Aviv, they're into the meme coins. They're focusing on that, so they're not practicing as much, and that's why I've got them in 8th place. They have Seaport City uncontested, pretty good POI to play from. Booga, you know, he's a great IGL. He's going to be able to set them up for Surge. Threats, some of the best Surge aim in the game, and Aviv, we saw him pop off over the last year. You know, he's a good player as well. Coming together as a trio, I think they can easily pull off an 8th place, even while they're not grinding. And they have the placements this season to back that prediction up. They've won an Evaluation Cup Finals. They've placed 4th in a weekly Divisional Cup Finals. They've placed 6th in a Divisional Finals. And they've placed 15th. So not the best with that 15th, but the other placements are looking pretty solid. Now, in 7th place, I've got Shadow, Curve, and Tyler. This is kind of an underrated pick. You guys wouldn't know too much about them if you don't follow competitive that deeply. You know, they're not any of the big names in the scene. However, they are playing very good this season. And now this is one of the very few trios that have actually stuck together through the whole season. So we have some good performances going back all the way to the start of the season that we can check out and see how well they've been playing as a trio. In week 1 Divisional Cup Finals, they got a 4th place. In week 2, they got a 6th. In week 3, they got a 7th place. In week 4, they got an 8th. And in week 5, not the best, they got a 14th. And they also won a game in the most recent Eval Cup Finals. They're uncontested at Warriors Watch. Now, I do have a few concerns with this POI, just the lack of metal, really. You know, it's a good spot. It's in the center of the map. They've got mountains around them for Surge. But the only issue is that there's no metal at this drop spot. Coming in 6th place, I've got Muzz, Rise, and Yapko. Now, this trio previously was Muzz, Rise, and Clicks, but that all changed around. I'm sure you guys know about that already. And then they were playing with Virgo for a little bit, but now they've settled with Yapko. And so far, it's looking pretty good. As in the 2 set lobby finals they've played, they've placed 3rd and 2nd. This trio is landing over at Shattered Span, uncontested. They've got a massive split over here with lots of loot. And as you guys can see, all of my predictions are teams that are uncontested. And the reason for this is because there's no multiplier on day 2. So you're going to have to be very consistent across all 12 games, across both days. So if you're contested, it's kind of hard to do that. So that's why my predictions are mainly uncontested teams. Now, a lot of people have this team higher up. I saw that Peterbot predicts Rise to get like a 2nd or a 3rd place. However, I just don't think that's possible. Maybe they will. I just haven't seen enough out of this team personally to put them that high up on my list. Now, in the number 5 spot, we've got Acorn, Ages, and Poyo. This team has only played a couple of tournaments together, as it was previously Acorn, Ages, and Canada, and Poyo was playing with Rapid and Bolts. But in the short amount of time they have played together, they got a 2nd place in one of the weekly finals, which is a very good placement. This team is landing over at Night Shifts Forest. They're uncontested. They've got this massive POI all to themselves. Lots of loot here, and I think they have a very good chance to top 5 this tournament if they're locked in. You know, they could even top 3. It just depends how they play on the day of Grand Finals. Now, in my number 4 spot, I've got Kanada, Rapid, and Bolts. This trio also hasn't been playing together for too long. Like I mentioned a minute ago, these trios basically like switched around. Kanada and Poyo just swapped places. But in the short amount of time they have played together, they've got back-to-back second places in the Eval finals, and they came 7th in a weekly Divisional Cup finals. So some pretty solid placements. They also won the first game of their group stage, and they made it look very easy while doing so. Although this team hasn't been grinding too much, they're also doing the meme coins and stuff outside of Fortnite. They are still very solid and a very good trio. If they continue not playing the game as much like they are now, then of course they will fall off over the next few seasons. However, right now, this season, they're locked in, they're playing well, they have a very good POI, and I can see this team easily getting a top 4 in Grand Finals. Now, speaking of that POI, they are of course landing at Demon's Dojo. They're going to get that Mythic SMG and the Mythic TP mask every single game. This is a very solid POI, lots of loot around them, and they should be stacked every game as long as they don't get contested. Now we're getting into that podium. In 3rd place, I've got Clix, Batman Booger, and Iomzo. This trio is landing at Lost Lake, completely uncontested in the middle of the map. This trio's only been playing together for a couple of weeks now, but in that amount of time, they've been looking really good. They've won 2 of the Eval Cup finals, and in both those tournaments, they won 2 out of the 4 matches. They came 3rd in another Eval finals, and they came 4th in a weekly Divisional Cup finals. And that's not to mention the amount of Opens tournaments they've been winning as well. So I can easily say that this team has been playing very good together. And watching it live, you can notice the vibes in this team. You know, they like playing together, they enjoy it, and they fit well as a team. So I can definitely see this trio getting a top 3 and getting Clix his best Grands placement. Now, in 2nd place, I have Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx. This trio has been playing so well together this season. You know, Vidil coming over from EU to play with Sphinx and Cooper. When I first heard about that, I thought this was going to be such a mid team. I thought they would be like a 10th place sort of team. However, watching them play over the last month or so, my mindset's completely changed. This team is so good. They're definitely at a level where they could win Grands if Peterbot wasn't in the lobby. So let's run through some of their placements they've had so far this season. In week 3 divisional finals, they came 2nd. In week 4, they came 5th. And in week 5, they came 2nd again. And alongside that, they've had 3rd place in 2 of the Eval Cup finals as well. This trio is landing over at Masked Meadows, completely uncontested. And if you guys saw my recent video about trio drop spots, you would know that this is one of the best trio drop spots on the map. So if you pair that up, a great drop spot with a great trio, that's a recipe for success. Now coming in the number 1 spot, you already know who it is. It's Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. Do I even have to explain this? This is so obvious why I think they're going to win. And it's because they've came first in every single Divisional Cup finals this season. 5 out of 5 wins. They're on track for a perfect season right now. All they have to do is pull off the Grands win, which I can definitely see happening. This trio is landing over at Flooded Frogs. They were previously landing at Box Carts, but then Flooded Frogs got that buff. You know, they added that vault with all the mythic chests and stuff. So now they're going there. They're getting great loot every game, you know. They're walking out with purple gold pumps every single game. Peterbot is the best player in the world. Pair that up with Cold, who's one of the best fighters in the world, and Ritual, who's a great fighting IGL, then you just have the best trio who wins everything. That was my top 10 picks for the Grand Finals. Let me know what you think down below. Also, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hopefully I will see you all in my next video.